Okay, welcome to another edition of Kurt's traditional train yard video. Last week I was saying how we were going to work on stuff and get everything going here. What I did do is I did do my caboose, and as you can see, I used screen to do the gangway, and it fits nicely. The only thing I have to do now is try to have everything matching color. Why K-Line decided to go with this bright purple where the ladders come up, I don't know. So I'm not sure exactly what color I'm going to paint that, but definitely want to get it all to match. As you can see, what I did with the screen is I had screen that was metal screen that was no good anymore in a window, and I cut the screen to length. But what I did is I folded the screen over so that the walkway, the gangway, looks more realistic. And actually it turned out pretty good. It's not even glued down. I was going to use a hot glue gun to do that. But all I did was put it underneath where the little platform for the ladder comes up. And it seems to fit pretty good. Now, as you can see, it's not exactly perfect. My suggestion is to take your time and cut it exactly right so it doesn't look quite as tacky as mine does. But as you can see, I was able to make a gangplank or walkway on top of the caboose by just using a regular old screen. So I didn't get any roads done. Maybe that will be next week. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do a video next week, as it's holiday season and we're getting ready for Thanksgiving and everything else. So stay tuned with that. But one thing I wanted to go over is somebody had mentioned on one of the pages, I believe it was either Lionel or whatever page on Facebook, they were having a problem with their switch. And what they were saying is when you powered it up, and I think they meant by track voltage, it would vibrate. Well, this could be a problem of a few different things. And one would be, you have to make sure that when you set up a switch, whether it be K-line, Lionel, and tubular switch especially, is that this track and this track, you have to insert a plastic pin. And you got to make sure that the tracks don't touch each other. And I'm thinking that's one way to get rid of that vibration noise that you have, because if you don't do it, the track is trying to engage the switch and it's confused of which way it should go. And so that's why you got this vibration going back and forth. Another thing is when you do the hookup, as you notice, I use different wiring from what actually comes from these switches down here. But it's pretty much, you have to wire this switch. If you're using track voltage, you have a jumper that goes from here to here. But if you're using fixed voltage, like I do, you need to have your, there's a ground here, and there's where your power comes in. And that goes to your fixed voltage. And then these two control whether it goes red or green or not. So when you get the 3 wires from these guys here, you connect your 3 wires like going down here. And you do it exactly like the K-Line or Lionel manual says. And you can get those online free. And you can download them for free. Doesn't cost any money. And so this switch is controlled by this lever here. And so, as you see, it's very tight. It's just this one's very tight. If you look at my other switches, like this one here, you see it flips just fine. And it's the same type of wiring. The red wire is actually the fixed voltage that you have coming to the switch. There's no track power on right now, and that's why this activates just fine. And even if you power up the system, I put power to the system. Of course, you hear my train beeping. You notice that the switches are still there. You can still operate them with no issue. And the reason why it's on fixed voltage. I use fixed voltage because the lamps on these are rated for 12 volt. And I have my fixed voltage just under that. And it runs the switch that 12 volt just fine without any issue. So I don't do track voltage at all. I use fixed voltage. That's the best way to run any switch as is. So that's pretty much a breakdown of K-line switches. It's not that hard to figure out how to put them all together. But the key is, like I told you before, is you got to make sure on your Lionel and K-line switches that you put an isolating plastic pin in this rail and also a plastic pin in this rail. And you got to make sure that the track doesn't touch each other. Otherwise, you're going to have issues. Here, right here. These are steel pin. These are steel pin, and the inside two rails are fiber pin. That will solve a lot of issues if you're having problems with your track operating correctly. And as I told you before, K-line came out with a terminal that you could run track power. I suggest never to use it for your switches. You can also, if you wanted to, run a separate wire to these switches to power up your track. That does work. That's how mine is set up with one of the other switches. If you're worried about a voltage drop, you can take your transformer, the variable speed power, and hook the power up to here on every switch you got. As you can see, I have many all over, and that should help eliminate any voltage drop that you have on your system. So anyway, that's pretty much what I got today. The caboose is done. It just needs to be painted so everything matches. The other things that we're going to start talking about, of course, I was saying we're going to try to work on getting the pavement in, and you can see how I will do that next time. We will start doing videos on different things. My layout is set up with a lot of movement action. Some of it is very simple and basic. Others takes a little ingenuity of how it all works. And I will go through all the little steps and how you get this going. It's pretty easy. And I will review all my little operating cars, how it works, my operating accessories, and we will go one at a time. So stay tuned for my upcoming weekly videos to see how each accessory works. So once again, enjoy your hobby. I know everybody's getting excited about Christmas, and putting up your Christmas displays. I'm excited too. Here's my display right over here. All it has to do is put the fast track together around the tree and I'm all set to go. So anyway, enjoy your hobby, guys, and I hope it was a little bit informative to you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Keep on training. Talk to you later.